Today, we're roasting a turkey breast, and believe it or not, we aren't gonna brine it. Instead, we're gonna cook it in a pot with a tight-fitting lid, which the French call cocotte. And that tight-fitting lid is important because it prevents the liquid from evaporating during cooking, and this creates a very moist, gentle cooking environment inside the pot and produces some really flavorful drippings. And when you cook in the pot, it's known as cooking en cocotte, and today Dan's gonna show us how it's done.
I'm very excited that we're free from brining now. It's gonna be a very, very simple recipe, and it's gonna start with a 6 to 7 pound bone-in turkey breast.
Big guy.
Big guy. We can't fit a whole turkey in a pot, so we're just gonna go with the breast, but this method, because it's so gentle, it really does a nice thing for the white meat. So we're gonna start by first taking off these ribs. So I'm just gonna use some shears to do this. I'm gonna follow along the bottom of the breast and cut right through these ribs.
And a good pair of poultry shears are worth their weight in gold for this.
They are the best tool for this job, definitely. So I'm gonna go down here, and then I'm gonna flip it like this, kind of snip in, and then there's a bone that where it connects right here that kind of goes out towards the wing, and a lot of times, and like on this one, it's still on there. So I'm just gonna take this and push down like that. It's a very satisfying sound if you like breaking down poultry. And then I'm just gonna go in between and take this off. Okay, you can take this chance to, trim up any areas that don't look good if there's too much skin in one place. This recipe, because it's cooked in a wet environment, the skin doesn't get super crispy. So this is not so much a skin-focused recipe where we're gonna jump through hoops to get it really crispy. We want the meat to be extra juicy. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take some paper towels and pat it dry on all sides. So I'm gonna use some kosher salt.
Do you want me to do the pepper since you're
I
turkey
would
hands?
love that, yes, thank you.
Happy to help. All
Awesome.
right.
All right, let me do a flip here, and you can start peppering. And I'll follow you with some salt. All right, there we go. Get a nice coating. I've got a couple tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil over medium-high heat until it just starts smoking. That sounds good, doesn't it? And I'm putting this in breast side down. And now we're gonna add a bunch of aromatics. So we've got 1 onion here, and these I just sprinkle right around the bird. I also have 1 carrot, 1 celery rib, and then we've got 6 cloves of garlic, 2 pretty little thyme sprigs, and finally 1 bay leaf.
Last but not least.
Last but not least. So I kind of like to stir these around and get them in that nice oil. We're gonna sear it this way until the skin gets nice and brown, and sometimes you have to tilt it a little bit in order to get the skin on all parts nice and brown, and that's gonna take 12 to 16 minutes. The vegetable's gonna get nice and brown as well, and we're gonna get really nice fond in the bottom of our pan.
Gotcha, and the fond is important for the gravy.
Exactly. This is all about the gravy. Smell that.
You can really smell the change between the raw vegetables and now that they're cooked. It's starting to smell a little like Thanksgiving around here.
So the vegetables have really reduced down in size. They've given up tons of liquid, and they've started to brown. And I've really moved the turkey breast around as I've cooked so that we get good browning on all sides. Now it's time to flip. We go in here, we have tongs and a wooden spoon. This is the hardest part of the recipe, probably. But you just take your time. Beautiful, nice color. Okay, so here's where the magic happens. We're gonna turn off the heat. We're gonna take our foil, and we're gonna put it over the top. We're gonna make a really nice seal. So it's great if you have a really heavy pot here, because the lid sits really nicely on top and it traps all that moisture inside. Even if you do, it's still nice to put a piece of foil on here. Kind of fills in those gaps and it protects it a little bit more.
Also makes it more foolproof, so that if you had a not so heavy lid, it would still seal in all that moisture.
Exactly. So we're gonna just go around here, crimp this in. We're gonna go into the oven about 1.5 to 1.75 hours. And it's actually really low, about 250 degrees, which for turkey roasting is really low. Normally we're up around 400 degrees, and our goal is to get browning and really crisp skin. Here, all we want is super juicy turkey meat. So going nice and low like that is gonna keep it very, very moist. So it's been about 90 minutes, and I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna temp it over there. So just go in here. 165 is what we're looking for. On the nose. Okay, so that's fantastic. We're gonna get it out of the pot here.
I have to say, getting it out of the pot is one of the hardest parts about this recipe.
That is the only hard part of this recipe, is maneuvering the turkey around. Absolutely. I'm gonna slide in my tongs underneath here. I find that's good, give myself lots of support, and then I'm just gonna use the wooden spoon as kind of a stopper there. Pick it up and pop it down on our board. Now we gotta tense it with foil, and I'm gonna slide this out of the way so we can deal with our broth. So this is really intensely flavored stuff. We've got that good browning from the skin on there, and we've trapped everything in the pot. So I'm putting this over medium-high heat, and we're gonna cook it down, and that's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's gonna smell really good while we're doing that. All right, so this has been going for about 15 minutes.
Oh, it smells even more intense than when it first came out of the oven.
We've got a good amount of fat in here, and that's the perfect base for our roux. So I'm going to dust over a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. The fat really helps with preventing lumpy gravy, because that fat's gonna coat all the particles of flour, so they're not going to clump together. We're gonna cook this for about 2 to 5 minutes. We wanna get some good color on it. Okay, it's nice and dark. You can see that fond on the bottom there. We're gonna scrape all that up with 4 cups of chicken broth. So the key here is to add it gradually and whisk a lot.
Because if you add the broth all at once and try to whisk it vigorously, you'll wind up with a lumpy gravy. But if you add it slowly and whisk as you go, that's how you get a smooth gravy.
So once you've got about 2 cups in, about halfway, you've diluted it enough that the rest can go in a lot more quickly.
That looks good.
It does look good, doesn't it? So I'm also gonna go in with my wooden spoon and just scrape around the corners. There's lots of fun, and as it gets moist, you can kind of scrape it back up into the sauce. Okay, so I got most of that incorporated. So I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer, and we're gonna cook it until it's a nice gravy consistency, about 2.5 cups, and that takes 10 to 15 minutes.
All right.
This smells so good.
It looks amazing.
I'm gonna shut the heat off. So this is 2.5 cups here. It's reduced down, it's nice and thickened. That flour gave it a lot of good body. And all we gotta do is strain this now.
All right. I know from experience, this is a 2-person job.
I was gonna ask for your help, thank you, that's perfect.
Let me hold the pot and you can strain it. Now I can't see what's going on, so you tell me if I'm tipping it.
I'll tell you if you go too crazy. Nope, a little bit more, a little bit more. That's great, I'm just gonna use this ladle to help things along. You can keep going just a little bit more. Excellent, make sure I get all that out.
That gravy's where it's at.
Perfect, that's great. So we're gonna get back to the turkey here.
Ooh, that is so not a looker.
It's not a liquor.
No, and that's the point here. It's not about the skin, it's about the meat underneath the skin.
That's right. So what I'm gonna do is just find the breastbone, runs right through the middle there. When I get to this point, I like to just take a little peek inside, make sure I'm following the right path.
That bone at the bottom there has an unusual curve, so taking a peek means you can really navigate it easily.
All right, that comes right off. All right, so I'm gonna use my knife and just get right underneath the skin there so I can peel it back.
Very elegantly done.
I'm just gonna cut nice thick slices. We're not making sandwiches, right? We're making dinner. And you gotta see how juicy that is.
Oh, look at that.
Nice and low and slow, you get the best results. And Julia, I'm gonna give you the center cut, the big center cut pieces.
Ooh. Ah, now may I pour a little gravy on top of yours?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, that looks beautiful. It's so good.
It's the best turkey breast and gravy ever. This turkey makes wonderful leftovers because it's so moist. It's moist the next day when it's cold. It does make great sandwiches. Dan, this is absolutely delicious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the juiciest roast turkey breast, cook it en cocotte. Brown a bone-in turkey breast with a few aromatics, cover the pot with foil, then the lid, and cook it in a 250-degree oven. Then, use the drippings to make a flavorful gravy. So from America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, an amazing recipe for turkey breast en cocotte with pan gravy. You can find this recipe along with all the recipes, tastings, and testings from this season at our website, americastestkitchen.com.
I would eat this year round.
Yeah.
Not even Thanksgiving.
This is a Sunday dinner for me.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.